He's used to being one half of a powerful partnership, and when Nick Clegg arrived at the conference hall with wife Miriam today, he wanted to talk about the other coalition in his life, and he admitted there had been difficult days.
There were days I thanked my lucky stars that my children were too young to understand some of the things that were written and said. But every insult we have had to endure since we entered government, every snipe, every bad headline, every blow to our support, that was all worth it.
He did talk a lot about himself and his family today. He even talked of his wife's father, mayor of a small town in Spain, where a statue's been erected in his honour.
And our three little boys see that statue every holiday, and Miriam tells them of the wonderful things he did. And they always ask about why he was elected and no one before him. And we teach them that democracy and freedom, they're fragile, they're recent things in many parts of the world.
Not everyone was gripped. This was the party's deputy leader. But the biggest cheer of the day probably came when Nick Clegg asserted his party's independence.
The Liberal Democrats, we're not just some subset of the Labour or Tory parties. We're no one's little brother. We have our own values and our own liberal beliefs.
All the same, there was no doubt of the master plan to break what he called the old two-party system, and after the next election, to be in coalition once again.
Our mission is anchoring Britain to the centre ground. Our place is in government again. Thank you.
His goal is to end single-party rule and make coalition the new normal, with his party and him firmly in government.